Hey, y'all, I have an incredible guest here tonight. She is one of my very close friends from the penitentiary. She did a lot of time. You guys meet now in prison. We called her Deja. That was her nickname. That's what she was known as in all the units that she was at. Her real name is Michelle Ramos. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi.
Thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited. This is your first Zoom meeting.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. So it's interesting.
It's interesting because you're freshly out of prison.
Yeah, today's a week that I've been out.
1 week ago today.
Yes.
That is incredible. Let me tell you guys, at the end of my sentence, I lived in a dorm with Michelle. We had known each other for a while, known of each other, but we hadn't really had an opportunity to get to know each other. And we were workout buddies, and we got to talk about some really deep stuff. We worked some things out together the way that friends do in there. We kind of bond, and it was pretty.
Yeah, we did.
So I get a phone call from one of our other friends that we were incarcerated, and she said, "Hey, Deja's out." And my whole entire spirit was just, it was like light all inside of me, girl. I was so stinking happy for you.
I know so many people. It's like when I talk to Peaches and AG, it's like I guess once they posted it, oh my God, I started getting all kinds of messages from people I haven't heard from or seen in years. So it was kind of cool.
Yes. We're always excited when somebody comes home, but it's a little bit more for you because you
Yeah.
did a little bit of time. How much time
Yeah.
did you do?
I did 26 years, 6 months, and like a couple of weeks.
26 years and 6 months. Michelle, when did you get incarcerated? How old were you?
I had just turned 17 years old. It was September 4th of 1996. So I was really, really young.
You were a baby at 17.
Yeah, I was. I was a baby. Had no clue what the hell was going on.
Right.
And it was that was the toughest experience I've ever had, ever.
What was your sentence?
I got 4 charges. I had 2 aggravated robberies with a deadly weapon, 2 robberies with a bodily injury. And so for the robberies, they gave me 15. For the aggravated robberies, they gave me 50. And I had 4 sentences, but they made it what is concurrent?
Did they run together?
Yeah, they ran together. So I
So
just
they
had
were,
a 50 ag. Yeah.
so that bigger sentence, that 50 ate up the little ones, and you had to make parole on that 50.
Yes. And then I caught a charge while I was in prison. And it was crazy, Marcy, because I made parole on my first sentence, which was in 2021. And I went into review in March. I seen them in June, and I got an answer in August, but they had approved it in July. So when that happened, they gave me an FI1. Of course, you know, if you have consecutive sentences, you have to get an FI1 for it to roll over to your new sentence. So when that happened, I had to wait all over again for the whole process. And I was literally in review for like a year. And because what they were trying to do is they were trying to give me time on this 4, because I didn't have no time on it except for 6 months good time. So, but yeah, so when I talk to people, they're like, man, you were in review for a long ass time. But it's because they were trying to make me have time on this 4, which I feel like is a blessing. At the time, I was frustrated, I was mad, but now I see that because they could have easily just given me a set off, but they didn't. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
When you were 17 and you have all of these charges stacked against you in this massive amount of time, did you go into an adult prison?
Yeah, they put me, I actually had to go to city jail for probably like 3 days. And then they sent me to the county, but they had like separate tanks. Like, so if you were 17 to 21, they had what you call the baby tank, the animal tank. And so that's where they put me. And I stayed in those tanks because I stayed in the county for like a year and 2 months. But I ended up leaving to Dayton when I was 18, I think.
In your mind at 17, how much time did you think you were going to be in prison for?
I didn't really know much about, all I knew is that I had to do half of my sentence. But, when you're young, you're not really comprehending what is really going on. So at the time, I just felt like my whole life was gone. Like I was never going to get out. I was going to be old as shit. But now that it's here, it's crazy because like the time sped by, and 40 is now the new 30. So
Yes, girl, say it again.
40 is the new 30.
Yes, that's right. So they better
Period.
watch out because Deja is on the loose. So free world,
Okay.
yes, free
I
world,
be
watch
trying to
out.
tell them, don't sleep on me and my gray hairs.
And Michelle, it's so funny because I've got to talk to a few different people that did time with you throughout your prison career. And some people were like, oh man, she gets in a lot of trouble. And some people were like, oh, she helped me so much with this. And some people were like, man, she got her college degree, and it's just interesting. You kind of grew up in the
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, I think I served different people. Like I was different. How do you say it? Like I was a different person for different people. It's just certain people would bring certain things out of me. Like I would come across, because you know how I was. I had a really
Let me stop you. I have a story and I'm going to see if you remember it. We were
okay.
in J1 Alpha, which is a cell block dorm for general population at Lane Murray. And Michelle worked in the inside yard and you came in for lunch. The inside yard had little
Oh my
orange
God.
vests and they
Oh
had
my God.
boots. And she came in, she had gloves, and she came in and sat in the day room and you were mad at a girl, and I'm not going to put them out there and their names and everything, but you were mad. And I don't know if you remember, J Lo said, well, there she goes right there. And the girl was in the vestibule outside the dorm. Michelle, you took your gloves off and your vest off. You took your top shirt off, tied your hair up, and I thought, oh man. And you headed out. You whooped her right there in the vestibule. And do you know, people got on, why didn't you stop her, Marcy? I said, I stopped her. We didn't know each other like that then. We were just kind of getting to know
Yeah,
each
getting
other.
to know each other.
Right. And I was like, I
Yeah.
couldn't have, who was I to stop her? And so that, but that was years ago. That
Yeah.
you would not, the Michelle that I ended my sentence with, you wouldn't have done that.
No.
You would have looked for other solutions to the problem.
Yeah. So the beginning of my sentence, I was just angry. I was young, I was angry. I felt like my whole life was gone, and I really felt like I didn't have anything to lose. So of course, that's why I was such, like, I was quick to fight, quick to go off, cuss out the laws. I didn't think about none of that stuff. And I guess, within my time, and it really had to do with like different people that I would meet in my life, because throughout my years of growing up in prison, I met certain people that would teach me certain things or try to guide me certain ways, and it's like really left me with lifelong lessons. They would show it, and instead of just telling me, they would show it too, so it would make me want to just be a better person, because I was really kind of bitter. And And I know that a lot of old timers in prison, they have this where they keep up this wall and they're not friendly and they don't talk, and like some of the people that we know and stuff. And I was turning into that person. I don't know, Marcy, like towards the end of my time, it's like I knew that I had to come out here, and I knew that I had to be I was going to be in jobs where I had to communicate. I had to carry myself well and make my coworkers feel comfortable. I had to change who I was because I knew I was coming out here. And when I tell you, when I was at Hobby, I was tested. Like, when I tell you I was tested, Marcy, I was tested. And it didn't have anything to do with me personally having problems with people. It's the person that I was involved with that was putting me in bad situations. And if I tell you I handled myself so well, I let so many things make it. And that's when I knew that I was like really done with that life. Like, that's just not what was up. So I'm out here now, and it's crazy because when I go into these places to talk to these people, it's like I even trip my own self out because I'm like, man, I'm like, hi, how are you doing? It's weird, but it's a good thing though. So
It is a good thing. You wilded out a little bit, but you accomplished some things while you were in prison, Michelle.
yeah, I
What did
did. I got my GED, and I didn't get my GED until like 2012, and that's because the beginning of my sentence, I was housed for a long time. I was in close custody, and when you're in those situations, you can't go anywhere, do anything. So when I was able to get it, I got it within a year. And then I took my THEA test and I went to college, and college was kind of drawn out for me because my history. I was going back to G4 coming up, but I eventually got it. I got OJT in sewage disposal. I got an OJT as an electrician, which was my favorite job. I learned a lot in there, like clerical work, trades, working with tools. And then it taught me really good work ethics, especially when we had to work for Lieutenant Warren. He was a tough boss, and he pushed you, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like you had to work hard. So I really and like I was saying earlier, he was one of my teachers. He was somebody who also taught me to work hard, to have leadership skills, boss material, speak up, run a squad, because he would put us in those positions. It's like you were forced to be that person. So he helped me a lot with that. So that was a good thing.
do you think he gave you a little bit of confidence putting you in those roles as lead row and that kind of thing?
Definitely, because when you're working for people like Lieutenant Warren or Captain Sullivan, like, you have to be a hard worker. You got to be trustworthy. They got to trust you. You have to step up to the plate. And I feel like if I didn't have those experiences, especially with the maintenance job and being an electrician, I feel like if I would have never had that experience, I wouldn't have been able to be as confident as I am while I'm doing my job search right now. I wouldn't be able to speak with knowledge about the things that I know, my experiences. And then you have those personalities there. You have to be tough. You have to be, we always said it. If you're on maintenance, it's like it's a lot of strong women in there with strong, wills, and everybody's bumping heads in there. So you just kind of have to be that person. But I really do feel like that is what gave me a lot of confidence in just going out here and just doing what I got to do.
Can we talk about your time in closed custody? And
Yeah.
you were housed and closed custody, or so for
I
people
was,
that don't know, tell me the
oh,
difference between those two.
when I first came into the system, when I first hit a unit, I went to Hilltop, and I assaulted an officer. I was 18 years old, and I can tell you this, and it's just she backhanded me, and that's why I did it. Like, but we're just inmates, so they don't see that. And of course, I beat her up real bad, and I got free will charges, and they housed me for that. I was housed for 2 years. And so it's administrative segregation back then. Now they call it restricted housing, but what it is you don't come out without being handcuffed. You have to be stripped to go everywhere, to go to rec, to go to medical, to go to visitation, to go to shower. They strip you out, they handcuff you, and they have different levels, level 3, 2, 1. And Like level one is the best level. You get all your property, you get to spend a certain amount. That's when you're ready. You're working towards getting back to the unit. Close custody is it's a step lower, but you get to work whole squad if they have it. You can go to rec for 2 hours. There's no day room, but you still get handcuffed everywhere. You're locked up in a cell 24/7 with a roommate. And house, you don't have a roommate. You're in a single cell. So
How was that mentally on you being 18 years old and in that cell by yourself?
well, when I got housed when I was 18, it was hard because I was young and naive. It don't matter what you do. You can do anything small and they over there, they can't fight you, so they roast you. Like they sit there and it's like what's that show they have? Drop the mic. It's like that. So that's their weapon, their words. So I had to get used to a lot of verbal combating with these people. So it was kind of tough and it was, lonely because I was young and at the time I wasn't having no visitors or mail. I really didn't have anybody. So I wasn't going to store. And back then, being housed back then was really, really hard because you couldn't have a lot of stuff. So it was kind of tough, but I eventually got used to it. When you are in places like that, it kind of I just feel like everything that I've gone through, clothes, G5, all that stuff, it's kind of formed me into the person that I am. And it does kind of affect you because it's like when you get out into population, it's hard for you to interact with people because you're so used to being alone. It's like you turn into a loner. And that's basically kind of what happened to me. It's like I became more I had friends, but they were few and I wasn't it's like I liked my space. I liked to be secluded. Like I play well with myself, you know?
That's a lot to go from that little cell and then into a dorm with 100 people. I can
Yeah,
imagine that
yeah,
transition. So we're talking about transitions, and you've had a pretty giant transition here recently, literally
yeah,
1 week ago today. Can you
yeah.
getting out of tell me about getting out? Who picked you up? What did that look like? What did that feel like?
My sister and her husband, they came and got me. I was nervous, like the moment, because I had to go to the cognitive program. So I had to wait for my date. As soon as I got my date, it was like literally 9 days away. And I just could not sleep. I couldn't eat. My anxiety was really, really bad. But you know how you know something is happening, but it's not really hitting you? So I was still going through the motions of going to work and taking care of my job place and interacting, just doing my everyday thing. But when I went to reentry and they called my sister and she made me sign the papers and, verified my release and stuff, I was fucking nervous. Like I just could not believe it. I was like, how the hell am I gonna do this? Like, I was worried. I was scared that I might not interact with my family well because I'm used to being alone. Just how was I gonna be able to because everybody talks about, oh, when you go to Walmart or when you see a bunch of people or driving in the car, sickness and da da da. I didn't have those problems. It's just I was very anxious. But when I got in the truck, my sister came, we hugged each other. I started crying. I started crying because I just could not believe that this day was here. It was pretty smooth. Like I just could not stop looking around at everything while we were driving. And then we went to Bucky's. You know what Bucky's is at?
Yes, I
We
went for
went
the first
there.
time when I got out
You-
too.
Oh my
Yes.
God. So we went there and I was like, I told Abel and Vanessa, that's my sister's husband, I was like, oh my God, it's like nobody pays attention to nothing. Like everybody is in their own little world, their own little, and I'm just over here watching everything, watching everybody, seeing what's going on. And it was just so crazy. Like it's very different out here from how it was when I was out here.
I love that observation because when we're incarcerated, we're on alert all the time. Even
Yes.
when we're calm, even when we're always paying attention to what the law is doing, we're always watching to see if someone's going to argue or something's going to pop off. So we're
Yeah.
alert. But we go, you're right. We come out here and people are in their phones. They don't even know I'm standing next to them.
Yes. Yes. It's crazy. It's very crazy.
How has the food been treating you? What everybody's going to want to ask what your first meal is. People ask me that still, my most commonly asked question.
I really don't eat a lot. Like, okay, so when I first got out, my sister, I wanted some fruit. So she bought me some fruits and she had bought me little snacks. We went to Bucky's. She got me a good cup of coffee, a bottle of water. But it's like the kids, so my nieces and my nephews, they eat out a lot. So whenever they get like pizza, I'll eat some pizza. I don't really eat a lot. Like it's like my appetite is gone. I'm not pigging out like I thought I would too. I thought I was gonna pig out when I got out here, but I'm not. And it's a lot of times I'm not hungry. And I think that has to do with me still trying to settle in because I can't eat and I cannot sleep. And it's crazy, but I make my niece and my nephew, I'll make them spend the night with me. Because I can't sleep by myself, Marcy. I don't know why. It's like, and I know I don't have anything to be scared of, but I just cannot. Like last night, I slept. I asked my niece, I asked you, right? I asked her, I was like, can you sleep with me tonight? She was like, I'll do it tomorrow. And I feel so bad, like, because they have their own life. They don't want to be sleeping with me. You know, they want to stay up on their phones at night. And I'm over here like, stay with me, please. But they have a little dog. So he came with me last night. So it was all right.
What about a real bed? How is that working
Oh
out?
man, my sister bought me a queen size bed. It's so comfortable. My sister really looked out for me. Like she got me a bed and some bed coverings and some really nice pillows. It feels good. Like my back don't hurt no more. My neck, I don't have headaches. I can stretch out. And it's crazy because, you know, when you're sleeping on that small bed, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to sleep in a big bed so I can stretch out. And now that I got this big old bed, it's like I stay in a little ball. Like I got to get out of that. I know. Eventually I'll spread my legs and my arms out, but so
Right.
yeah.
Before you know it, you're going to be a starfish in the middle of your bed.
Okay.
You brought up pillows. Just tell us what you used for a pillow when you were incarcerated.
I got all my personals, like my t-shirts, my shorts, and I put them in a commissary bag and I rolled it up and then I put a thermal on top of it. Or I used my jacket, I rolled it up and I sleeved it in something and I use that, or I use that as a pillow. We
I
ain't got to do that no more, Mars.
No, we have real pillows, and me and Brittany fight over pillows.
Really?
There's like 6 big ones on our bed, but there's one that we both really like.
Uh-huh.
You have been sharing your story a little bit on social media. I want to talk about social media when you left, when you were 17. What was
Oh, there
available?
wasn't one.
Did you have MySpace? Was MySpace even around? I don't think so.
No, they didn't have cell phones. They probably had them big cell phones that I think were only in cars, but they did not have cell phones. They didn't have internet. They didn't have none of that. None of that existed when I was out here.
You came home and you've hit the ground running because
Yeah,
you have a Facebook,
yeah,
you have an Instagram,
yeah.
and and I've been seeing you. You're already sharing your journey.
Yeah. Well, my Instagram is not, I don't think anything is posted in there. So, but my Facebook, I share my story on Facebook mainly.
I think it's pretty incredible that left you left the free world with no cell phone, no knowledge of social media, and you come home to this very much social media
Yeah.
centered society. And you are already 1 week later on Facebook. I've already seen several videos that you've made. you're sharing your story and you're sharing your journey, and we are along for the ride and we want more.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh, I need to get to
absolutely.
work then.
Yes, absolutely. Your story, you have an incredible story to tell, and we want to see you thrive and all of those good things. You did a video about looking for work, and you had went
Yeah.
to the Workforce Commission and they were closed. And so so what's next for your employment? How's that looking? How's that journey?
Okay, so today I'm telling you, I've been accomplishing stuff every day. I didn't post anything today because today or yesterday, I think because I've been so busy, but Texas workforce was closed. And then I went to a place, it's a food bank, and I met with a lady there named Rosie. You know what I've noticed about these people is because I've been very frank and honest with them. I'm like, look, I've been locked up 26 years. I was a kid when I left. I know absolutely nothing about this world. I have nothing to my name. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to work, get a job. I mean, whatever you can offer me, I'm taking. Like, I don't mind asking, I don't mind breaking it down for them. And Marcy, if I tell you these people have been helping me, like, so Miss Rosie, she got me SNAP, she got me health care for women. She also directed me to a place where they work with work in Texas or something like that. And I met with this man named Justin Escobar, and he used to be a parole officer, and he's now like a case manager there. And he has been so helpful. Like, he has this program that he wants me to do, which is I go to school and I work. And then once my schooling is complete, then a job, it can be that company or another company that will keep me. And I have to hold that job down for a year. I can't go anywhere. And then I went to another section over there, and she helped me do my online application. They sent me to a church where I got money to buy my birth certificate, but I'm going to give that money back because where I went today, all my documents are coming in. They're mailing them tomorrow. They gave me clothes. They gave me a little hygiene. They also gave me an address, I mean, a phone number to call here in San Antonio. It's a food bank. So I'm picking up food on the 8th. And then they gave me another food bank. They're open from 8:30 to 2 o'clock. So, and they said anytime I'm ready to go pick up some stuff, I can. But the place that I went today was a reentry center. So I met with this man, Damien, and I explained to him, my story as well. And so he helped me do my application online. He talked to, his friends or whoever, like his coworkers. The lady sent me an application on the phone. I already did that. I sent it in. I'm gonna go to an orientation tomorrow, and they're gonna show me where I can go to get free healthcare. And he said that they're gonna find me a job, and I'm gonna do this job until July. And in the month of July, they're gonna put me in a class. They're gonna pay for my schooling. It's gonna be from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then he's gonna find me a job to take in the afternoon. And then it's only a 6-week class. Once my class is complete, they're gonna put me in a different job, a better job where I can make like $23, $24 an hour. So, and then he gave me a HEB, what do you call those when there's money on it already?
A gift card, maybe?
Yeah, like a HEB gift card for $20. I guess they have this in the area, like in their building, because he brought me clothes. He brought me 2 brand new shirts, a pair of shorts, pants, some hygiene, some good hygienes, and then he gave me another bag full of food and snacks like soups and peanut butter. And he helped me get my documents. So tomorrow they're mailing off my ID, my birth certificate, and my social security card. So I have really been blessed. And Marcy, so many people would go back in there, and even people that we know, and we would hear like how they were doing out there, and they were like, it's so hard out here, and you can't really find shit. And even the food stamps thing, they're like, that's not true because I can't get it. Da, da, da. And that is a lie. Like, when I see if I tell you help. It's like I don't even have to look hard for it. I just go to these places and they just throw all these resources at me. They give me these papers to call. They give me look this up on the line. The only problem that I have is doing all the stuff online, the applications, all that stuff. But some of these people are willing to help, but they have to see that you're trying to help yourself. So when people say that there's nothing available to them, it's not fucking true. I'm telling you, I have came up so much in a week, Marcy. I got like, and they're not ugly clothes, they're nice clothes. I got clothes, I got hygienes, I've got food that I'm bringing to the house. I got jobs waiting. Like, it's just been great. And I'm glad. It makes me happy to know that I've been able to accomplish all this. Like, cause I was worried, but it's just all about the person. It's like how much they want it. Because if you don't really, you can sit here and say you want all this for yourself, but if you got to put in the legwork, and that's the toughest part. That's really the toughest part, but you got to really want it. So
When you were saying that, I immediately was thinking exactly that, that you're putting in the footwork, you're putting in the effort, and you are boldly telling your story. You're boldly holding yourself accountable for having been in prison, and you're just telling it how it is. And people respond to that.
yeah, they do. They're like, and they tell me like, and it's crazy because they're so nice. They're like, you know what, Michelle, I want to help you. And they give me their numbers, they put their numbers in my phone, and they keep tabs on me. They see how I'm doing. If I got a job, they'll send me links to my Gmail. People will help you. You just gotta, yeah, you gotta put in the legwork. Like, they've been really, really good to me. Everybody that I've met has been nice, and they're always like, I wish you luck. I wish you luck, Michelle. So, it's a good feeling.
Have you encountered any barriers or things that you're having trouble with adapting to besides just the little things of like sleeping alone, but any bigger barriers since you've been home?
No, the only problem that I've been having is like when I had to do the on like everything now is a Gmail or a password, and it's a password for everything now. So that, like, when I had to do the Texas workforce application, it's like 23 pages you have to fill out. You have to remember all this stuff, and that has been the toughest thing for me to do. But I just get on this phone and I push buttons, and I don't know what buttons they are. I don't care. I'm just trying to, push it, and then I see what it is and I try to remember it. And that's how I'm learning. But that has been the toughest thing for me, like, no lie. And that's another thing. He asked me if I wanted to take a computer class. So tomorrow when I go over there, he's going to be at the orientation. We're going to talk about that and see where I can go, or I guess maybe he'll put me somewhere. I don't know, but I will let you know.
I think that's amazing, especially some of the bigger cities, San Antonio, Austin, they have some reentry programs there. I don't know if you remember Barbara China. She was on the Dr. Lane Murray unit. She was vision impaired.
Yeah.
She runs a reentry service in
I
Austin.
didn't
Yes,
know that.
she teaches some of those classes you're talking about, like Google Docs, Google Drive, how to run all of that. And that's something that people don't think about. You didn't have an email address probably when
No,
you
I made an email address when I was in prison because they told me that I would need an email address. And so I started trying to figure out, like, how the hell do I do it? So do you remember Christina Turner?
sure.
So she's the one who helped me do my Gmail. She was telling me, like, you have to have a lowercase or a number, or all the rules to that. And I had a Gmail when I came out. As soon as I came out, my sister helped me do a Gmail account. And I used the one that I made.
Your first email account ever.
Yes, that's gonna be mine probably for the rest of my life.
Yes, in 2023, you have your first email account
Yes,
ever.
yes,
That's something I think a lot of people coming out right now that have done a significant amount of time filling applications out online and doing everything electronically.
yeah. It is. It's very, very hard, but I'm gonna overcome it. Because I'm smart, I'm sharp. I just have to keep. It's just so much that you have to remember.
It is a lot. Here you are on a Zoom meeting, and girl, I'm impressed because it took me a minute to get on Zoom. It really did. What kind of advice do you have for family members that have people that are incarcerated with lengthy sentences? How do they support their incarcerated loved ones?
I know that like keeping in touch, like when my sister would send me e-messages or pictures, like that made a big difference. Knowing that I could call them and talk to them at any time, it was a good thing. So if like there's anybody out there and you have family locked up, be supportive, just let them know that you don't have to send them money, but just write them, update them on everything that's going on, family, their kids, because you don't realize it's those things right there that really helps a person make it, make it through the system, make it through their days, their nights. And I also want to say something else too, Marcy, because this is something that I'm passionate about. I don't have a platform for it yet because I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get there. But there's kids out there that I see it all the time on this Instagram. Some of the stuff is you see how these kids are living, and I just want to say to the kids out there, don't do things that are going to affect your future. Like, it's cool to have fun, it's cool to live life, it's all good, but be careful of who you choose to have in your life, because you can make choices that can be so damaging and can affect you. Like me, I was young. Never did I think that I would be sitting in prison for fucking almost 3 decades. Suicide is real. If they're depressed or if you're suicidal or if you have problems, like, reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. If you feel like you're in bad situations, start going to taking different classes, put yourself in sports, try doing different things like art, dancing. There's a lot of things that they can get themselves into, but that's really a message that I would like for these kids to hear, to just don't don't fuck up your life. Don't You're young, you have plenty of opportunities, do something with it.
What do you think would have helped 15, 16, 17-year-old Michelle? What do you think the community could have done to help you steer away from some of those things that you were doing and participating in that led you to prison?
Well, if I had grew up in a different environment, then I'm sure things would have been slightly different for me. I probably would have did things differently. But I understand, like, when you're young, you're very impressionable and you are easily led, I get that. But also, I want to say this. Sometimes it's the choices that we choose to make as well. I don't want to blame my environment. Did it have an effect on me? Yes. When I was young, right before I caught this charge, there was this group, these church, like a youth place, and they were gonna pick me up, and I was gonna go. Me and my friend were gonna go to this place, and it was a youth center thing. This dude came to us, and he was like, why don't y'all go? It's a bunch of kids getting together, listen to the word. And we were gonna go, but the last minute we didn't. And I think about that a lot, because when you're young, we can easily blame our environment, we can blame society, we can blame our childhood or the way we grew up, or oh, my fucking life was bad, blah blah. And it does affect us, it does damage us, but at the end of the day, we also have a choice to do things better, to do things differently. So I don't want to blame it on that, because at the same time, I could have, if I really wanted it, I could have done something completely different, but I didn't. So it's really just about making good choices. Don't let your environment affect you. Don't Everybody has problems. Like, we grow up with bad moms, we grow up in drug houses, we grow up in bad places, but we can get ourselves out of that, because I've seen it happen. I've seen kids do great things and live in shitholes with shitty ass people, and I've seen them get their diplomas, go on to the military, get good jobs, go to college, and just live great lives. And my sister is one of them. She grew up in a bad home. She had to deal with, she was pregnant at 16. She still graduated high school. She still made something for herself. She's got her own home, she's married. And that's why I say that, because she could have easily been like the rest of our family, but she didn't. So it's really about choices too, Marcy.
She broke that cycle for your family, and now she's supporting you in breaking that same cycle and changing your life.
Yeah, she started writing me when she was like 10 or 11. So can you imagine, like, she's writing to me in prison and she's a kid, and now she's like, what, 36, 37? It's great. It's a great thing to see.
I wonder if seeing you incarcerated as at such a young age and getting to interact with you, I just can't help but think, knowing you, that you probably guided her in some of those good choices she made.
I did, because I would tell her all the time, like when we would write, I would just tell, but she really wasn't a trouble kid. But like my nephews and nieces, I always tell them, like, don't, be careful, like, because my sister can be hard on them, but I tell them it's for a reason. Like, she's doing all this so y'all can have a better life, so y'all can do better things, so y'all can be somebody, just do great things and not be like how our family was and stuff. So, and I know that me being in prison kind of like, she was exposed to a lot. So I really believe like her self-will is what got her where she is today. Cause she's a really strong person.
I love that you have her and she's there for you and your nieces and nephews. And I love that you're there with them now, because I heard so many stories about them while we were incarcerated. So I think that's awesome. I want to talk about communicating with your loved ones while you're incarcerated, the phone calls, and how crucial all of that is. You were able to call home?
Yeah, so my sister set up the phone for me. She had trouble doing it at first, but us being able to talk all the time, her being able to visit me, and over there at Lane Murray, because she's really my baby cousin, but she's the only like consistent family member that I have, so they let us have contact visits. That really made my day. It just, once I had that visit with her and the kids, it's like it just gave me, like, encouraged me. Nothing can make me, bring me down. My week would be great. And just getting pictures from her, being able to talk to her on the phone, talking to the kids, because it's like I literally watch these kids grow up from prison, and just being able to talk to them throughout their different ages. And it's really a good thing to just have that family connection, to be able to have somebody to stick it out with you while you're in prison, so you don't feel so alone, because it can be a lonely experience. You know how it is in there. Sometimes it's hard.
You and I both did our time where we were in F dorm, which is the privileged dorm, all the way to medium custody, and then you even further down. I for sure noticed a correlation in between people that were like in medium custody, in the lower custody levels, had less contact. There were a lot more of that population that had no visits or didn't get on the phone. And then as you progress to the privileged dorm, or the people that aren't in there getting in trouble, they have more of that family support. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's like a big difference. Whenever you're down and you're in trouble, like you can't get that. You can't have contact visits. And then people's families be mad because they're down there. It's pretty tough. And then the attitudes are different because they don't have that. So yeah, it was a big difference. I noticed that. I wasn't really happy during that time. So I think that's why I would get so mad at myself when I would go down. And that's why I would always try to go back up, because I needed that. I needed that. That was like part of my motivation to go back up and do good.
that family support for sure motivates behavior and actions when you're
Yes.
incarcerated because it gives you something to lose.
Yeah, it
That
really does.
is there anything that you thought about that you wanted to share that I haven't asked you about or you haven't said yet?
I just really want people to, don't get discouraged. I really do. That's kind of the message that I want to give to people. Like, don't get discouraged if you're like just getting out of the system and you're trying to get a job, you're trying to get on your feet, or and you're trying to survive. Like, don't get discouraged. Don't give up. And the hardest thing about all this is having to put in the work to get this done. That's really the toughest part. And I just want to encourage people, like, if you gotta, if I tell you, like, I've had to call numerous numbers, I've had to wait and press one, press two, I've had to drive all these places. And thank God I have my sister to help me. But those are the steps that you're going to have to take in order to get all the things that you need to get reintegrated back into society and become successful and get all the things that you need to survive in this world. Like, those are things that you have to do. So it's gonna be hard. Like, it's gonna be hard, but you gotta do it. Like, that's the only way that anything's gonna happen. And that's kind of what I want to tell people. Like, don't give up, don't get discouraged, just keep pressing forward.
We have a plan to connect again in 6 months. Now we're going to talk before then because I'm not going to
Yes,
let
we
you.
are.
But in 6 months, we're going to do this again. And
Okay.
I'm so excited for everybody to see where you're at in 6 months. And in the meantime, if you grow your social media, if you want to start sharing that, you get with me, guys, and I'll post it on here so that you guys can follow Michelle because I think that she is a great voice and she can be encouraging, and we all want to follow your journey.
That would be great. I love that because I'm trying to set up a platform. Like, a lot of people tell me, some people have told me that they're like, Deja, people don't care about that stuff. They don't. But you know what? I don't care because there might be somebody out there who does care about that stuff, or who does need to hear something positive or need some type of encouragement or uplifting. And that's just what I'm trying to do. Like, it's nothing fancy, it's just, but that's what I want to do. So I would love it. I would love whatever help you can get. And that's my goal.
Awesome. Thanks so much for visiting with us. I want to give you a big hug.